Hey y'all, this is Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two long-distance best friends and lifelong romance lovers recap romance novels scene by scene while giggling, swooning, commenting, and going on tangents. I've got a big announcement to start us off. We're going to be running a Patreon fundraiser from today until June 10th. For every new and increased Patreon pledge we get this month, we will double it and donate it to AAPI Women Lead, a survivor and former sex worker-led organization that amplifies the leadership of Asian and Pacific Islander women, girls, and non-binary folks, and works to end every form of violence in solidarity with all BIPOC communities. I encourage you to check out their website or go to @AAPI Women Lead on Instagram. Again, we're going to be doubling all new and increased pledges. So if you sign up as a $5 patron, we donate $10. If you increase your pledge from $15 to $20, we don't just double the $5 increase. Oh no, we're donating $40. The last time we did this, we raised almost $2,000 for the Yellowhammer Fund. And I'm so excited to bring this fundraiser back for AAPI Women Lead. So head to patreon.com/Heaving Bosoms podcast and sign up. Not only are you raising money for an awesome foundation, but you also get oodles of extra content. I'm talking like over 100 bonus episodes alone. All right, today is a very special episode. We partnered with the Rip Bodice on their April Read Romance Repeat box, and today we're recapping one of those selections. This is going to be part 1, so you'll have to tune in next week to hear us swoon and honestly lose our minds about how great the second half of this book is. If you're a patron, videos for parts 1 and 2 are up today, so you can binge both. But without further ado, here's part 1 of Flirting with Forever by Cara Bastone.
Have you started yet?
No.
Oh.
I'm about to start right now.
Can you do an impression? Can you do it again? What you just did? It was the most ridiculous thing.
I said I was about to hit the record button, and I said
when she hit the record button, her entire
now.
Her entire demeanor changed. It was very funny. If you're watching on the video, it's funny.
Oh my gosh! Hello, Erin.
Hi. How are you?
I'm great. Super
Good.
great.
Me too.
Did I tell you what Michael got me for my birthday? Did I
No,
tell you?
You just told me about how you forgot his birthday, which I thought was going to be the banter.
I didn't forget about it. I knew
I'm sorry
that it was happening, and I
Yes.
knew that it was this weekend, and I
And
gave
you
him his present 2
gave
weeks
him his
ago.
present. Yes.
I was so on top of it that I just did not recall that today is not a different day. So anyway.
I expected the banter to be about how you forgot Michael's birthday and not what he got you for your birthday.
No, I can't talk about how I forgot Michael's birthday because it didn't happen.
You're right. You
know?
What happened was you caught yourself before you forgot Michael's birthday.
This is the one. And
Yeah.
for me, that's like Olympic level gymnastic stuff.
Because it's tomorrow. We had originally scheduled to record tomorrow.
Yeah.
But now we're doing it today.
Right.
Last minute.
But I got a really good birthday present. Do you want to know what it was?
Was it romance stickers?
No, that's what Erin got me, and
that's what I got her.
Loved them.
Yes.
No, and actually, a lot of them are on my bottle.
Oh, look at them! Look at all those romance stickers.
Beautiful. Okay, no, he got me one of those like world between the books situations.
I know about this. Yeah.
You
sent me pictures.
Yes, I did. Okay, good, I did. Yeah, so we built this whole like. I couldn't remember if I told you about it or not.
Wow.
I know. Well,
no, it's on brand.
We've been watching Finding
it's...
Nemo lately, and I identify way too much with Dory.
No way.
Okay. So, what was I saying?
He got you the world between the books.
Thank you. Thingies. And then we built it together. And so that was a fun thing. Like, it took like 3 nights and it was this whole thing. And normally I really don't like detailed work like that. But the fact that it was like a project together and it was like this cool thing we're doing. And then we came up with this really cool creation. But my favorite part of it is anytime I walk past, because there's inside, it's a Venetian street. And inside there's this like beautiful lady in a Grecian gown in like a gondola. And then there's like a little dude in a gondola and stuff. You've seen it. I sent you the pictures.
No, I just don't understand. Wait.
She just has like a flowy dress that reminds me of like a Grecian goddess or whatever.
Right.
It's not like...
I don't know much about stuff. But that didn't all seem to match.
But you do know that Venice is not in Greece?
Yeah, but then when I started to say it out loud, because you seemed confused, I was like, wait, Venetian is to Venice. Okay, Greece is... And I had to like do math to make sure I was right before I said it out loud and looked like a dummy.
It is all Mediterranean, as you would know, because you are an expert in the seas.
That is one of the seas. So is the Sea of China. And the Arctic Sea. Gulf of Mexico.
The Baltic is one of them. I'm pretty sure. There's an Indian one.
Sea of Madagascar.
Okay,
the New Zealand Sea. The Bering Strait.
My favorite thing about
yes.
this thing is not necessarily lighting it up and looking at it, even though that's like a really primo part of it. Yeah, that's cool. The fuck up. And it looks so cool. It's this little world between my books. The best part about this thing is that now when I walk past my bookshelf, I get to go, FEE FI FO FUM. Because I'm a giant to them. We're all giants.
I respect that there are people.
FEE FI FO.
I respect that there are people listening that can go here with you. I just can't.
It's so funny to me.
Do you do it out loud as you approach it?
Why would I not do that out loud as I approach it?
I thought that was going to go a different way. Okay.
Wow, I really think this is funny. I wasn't expecting to cry. All right.
Should you introduce your new purple hair to the watcher and not the listener? But listener, she does have new purple hair.
I have purple hair. It's like maroonish red at the roots, and then it goes to a really deep, vibrant purple at the end, and I love it. So
it's great.
I've got new hair.
It kind of matches your glasses.
Ooh, thank you. Yeah. Okay, we've got a book to talk about.
Okay. Public service announcement. Okay. We read Flirting with Forever by Cara Bastone. I have a lot to say.
I'm excited to hear everything about it.
So,
yes.
This is one of 2 books that was in the April Ripped Bodice box that was associated with us, and we put a sticker in there and a keychain for people who do that subscription service. And then we promised we would read one of the 2 books in the box. So we got our choice. One of them was this book, Flirting with Forever by Cara Bastone. The other one was The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes by, is it Zoe Axelrod? Is Axelrod right?
Axelrod.
Okay.
Yep.
So listen, Melody left it up to me. I chose the shorter book because that's the brain cells that I have. But then I noticed that the blurb for the other book, The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes, was written by Christina Lawrence. And I was like, oh man, I bet that's like really, on the cover. It's like, what a great book, Christina Lawrence. So I texted Lo and I was like, how good is this book? And she was like, really good. And then I did a lot of like research, and there's like original music that goes with that book and stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's also apparently like really angsty. I just felt like I couldn't do an angsty 500-pager this week.
That's my thing. I couldn't do an angsty second chance. No, that was me. Yeah. And then we were both like, we were both like, length is good on the other one. This Flirting with Forever.
So I really want everyone to encourage everybody to read that other book because it sounds fantastic.
It really does.
And okay, this is the second thing I want to talk about.
Okay.
Number 2 is I looked at the cover of this book and I recoiled.
Same.
It made me upset to look at.
Hard same.
The title upset me.
Yep.
Listen, this is a fantastic book that I loved so much.
That I never would have picked up.
My favorite book of ever. I loved this book. I loved this book much more than Melody, which never happens.
She did. Yeah. This book is good. Don't get me wrong. Erin loved it more than I did, but the book is good no matter how you slice it.
Yes.
You know, I enjoyed book.
I didn't. And, the blurb on the front is from our friend Jill Shalvis, who is also on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like, and, the ripped bodice lady said it was good. It came with good reviews. It's just this cover reverse fucking catfished me. And so did the title.
Hard.
Well, it shows a happy couple having a picnic.
Mm-hmm.
He's like in jeans. They're having a white wine together. There's a shaggy dog involved. It's in a field. Okay.
Actually, it's like a burlap rooftop of some sort.
Yes.
I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
This is a book that takes place in the city parts of Brooklyn, in urban Brooklyn. The hero never smiles, and that's a plot point of the book.
The fuck?
Never wears jeans and never wears color,
and
which is a plot point of the book. He has a cat. Not a dog. There are no outdoor scenes whatsoever.
No picnics at all.
There's no picnics. There's no blue skies. There's nothing. Sorry, there is one block party, but again, an urban setting.
Right. And actually, there is one picnic, but it's with his mom inside her shop. And it's
it's
glass
an indoor
everywhere.
Picnic because again, urban setting, not field situation. It's a joke that he can only afford cheap beer and not white wine, and she also likes cheap beer with lemonade in it, and that's like a part of the book.
Yeah. This cover makes no sense.
She's 7 years older than him, which is a plot point of the book, and that girl is 20.
Yeah. She's like 19.
I looked at this cover and this title, which means nothing, and I thought, I am bracing myself for the hellscape that is these two.
Yeah.
I was prepared for Thanksgiving all over again. I was prepared for just Christmas time cowboy. That's what I thought this was going to be.
Yeah.
No, this book is fantastic.
It's a great book.
So good. It was so good.
Book. Yeah. Yeah.
Cara Bastone. Yeah. You're so good.
Cara Bastone, you're
so good at it.
You're a talented lady. I've got a couple of things that I need to say up front.
Yes.
First of all, very good book, as I said.
Great
good book. There were some very small pet peeves that are very particular to me, and I need listener to know, because I need them to know where I'm coming at this from, so that they can be like, Melody's irrational. This book is amazing. So, first of all, sometimes, every once in a while, things felt a little bit repetitive or redundant to me.
Sure.
There were moments where, one that comes to mind particularly is he says, her smile was infectious. And then he says the CDC would have categorized it as highly contagious. Literally, those are the two sentences that come right after the other. Mm-hmm. And I know that they technically mean different things, but just running them through my brain, I was like, why did we have to say that twice? And Erin
don't care.
Loved it.
Loved it.
Erin loved it. She didn't even think about it.
Loved every moment of book.
Second thing is, I have a thing about grown adults saying the word freaking. I do. But listen. Every single person in this book says the word freaking, both in their inner monologue and out loud. But the catch is, both of them also say fucking at different points. Granted, she only says it one time.
I noted this as well.
And she's literally saying, we fucked the outside away or whatever. But he says, for fuck's sake, all the time. He says fucking whenever he goddamn pleases. They're, so, but then in his inner monologue, he'll be like, oh no, that bra strap is freaking hot. And I'm like, no, he would not think that. Sorry, he wouldn't think freaking in his grown adult man brain. Because here's my thing. If you're going to have a character do that, I need them to commit to it. For me, you can't say freaking and fucking. Pick one. Unless you're you say fucking around adults and then you say freaking if there's a child or something. There needs to either be outside stimuli that makes you change your behavior, or you need to just say fuck. Mm-hmm. Or you need to be anti-cursing. Just make the character no cursing. But the fact that both of them, I would have been fine if she was a freaking person and he was a fucking person. That would make sense to me. But this mishmash of the freaking and the fucking and the no rules about it, like, it's like sci-fi movies. I don't need you to make sense. I just need you to follow the rules that you create. That's all I need from you. So that was honestly my biggest pet peeve about the book, which tells you what a good book it is.
I was going to say, and that's super small.
Super small. Yeah. And again, I want to say I am fine with grown adults not cursing. That is a perfectly reasonable choice, one that I do not make. However, it just feels like you should be consistent. Do it or don't. Unless they're like children, right?
Sure.
P.S. The other day, Ember dropped something and he goes, "God bless America."
Oh, that's like, a good one.
Aw, look at him. Look at him go. Okay. All right. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. I have to turn my Kindle back on because I turned it.
Because my tirade went on a little long.
Snoozed.
Okay, so we've got Mary Trace.
Mary is on a date.
Mary is ready for her first date. She is dressed up. She loves first dates. She's one of those weirdos who loves a first date. I also love a first date.
What?
I love a first date. Oh, there's so much possibility. It's so fun. Like, you get to meet a whole brand new person. It's nothing but endless opportunity in front of you. The conversation could go anywhere. You know nothing about this person. I love a first date. I am Team Mary on this one. Love a first date.
Well, so she's all dressed up for her first date. She got set up for a blind date by her friend with her friend's son. And then that son does walk in and say, "I expected somebody younger."
Yes.
And he's 30 and she's 37.
Yeah, she sits down at the table and he goes, "Oh, I expected someone younger." And then she like closes her eyes and she's like, "Okay, is this a thing I can do? I don't know.
Can I stay here?"
I've always decided that if I can tough it out, then I will, because that's the polite, correct thing to do. But she's like, you know what? His shoes are going to decide it, because she's anti-wingtip shoes.
This whole book talks about, listen, I will die for this hero, okay?
Same.
Mary, I could take or leave.
Mary's great.
I would die for this man.
Same.
Okay?
Yeah.
She's super judgy about how people dress. And the whole book, they talk about how judgy this hero is. And he's not even all that judgy.
No, he
Mary's
just scowls
super
all the
judgy.
time.
And they talk about how she's not judgy, but she is judgy. Because she looks at his shoes and she's like, "I hate men who wear wingtip shoes." And then since he has wingtip shoes, she's like, "Fuck this." But it's like, it's the whole thing. It's like the shirt and like the tie. He's got like a perfect tie knot, and he's got like a really classic haircut that's like parted to the side. "Be still my heart." And I just feel like she judges the whole thing. And then the waitress comes up.
Yes.
And he checks out the waitress.
Yeah, he does an up and down on that waitress. And she's like, "Oh, good." One of my favorite lines of this book actually happens in chapter 1, where she's like, "Oh, good. Please, like, look the grown baby up and down." Like,
yeah. Because the waitress is like 20.
Yeah. So she's like, she just closes her eyes and she's like, "You know what? This isn't going to work." And she gets up and he goes, what does he say? He says, like, "What? Are you serious?" And she's like, "Yes." And then he goes, "God, so such a waste of time." And she's like, "Oh, so now he's an asshole who's like extra mad because I won't fuck him? He wasted his time because I won't have sex with him?" Like, Estrella, his mom, said that he was a nice boy, and she looks him dead in the face, and she says, "I will not tell your mother what went down today, but I am going to tell you that she was wrong. You are not a nice boy." And she walks the fuck out. And it's a great first scene. It's a great first scene.
It's great. I was worried that like this one comment he made would be the whole conflict, which it kind of was a little bit. No, it's not.
Okay.
It kind of is. But it wasn't enough to like annoy me.
No. Okay. So third pet peeve of mine. I'm on the record already. I hate it when the main conflict is they don't talk to each other.
Well, I don't even think it was like, I don't know.
I didn't
feel that strain in this book.
Oof, I did.
He keeps doing subsequent things to like fuck it up. He does.
Sure, but then he keeps on being like at one point, we'll get to it, but he's like, Mary, did I mess everything up?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, did I ruin any chance of us? And then she goes, being friends? And I'm like, Mary, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but
he was about to come up to you, asshole.
Not to talk to each other.
Oh, I disagree.
They definitely explain why they keep not talking to each other.
Sure. Yeah. I find it to be incredibly stupid every time. I'm mad at them every time. Okay. Sorry.
So now we're clipping back to our hero, John, who is a public defender in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
and he's just lost a case. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, his client got indicted. He lost the grand jury situation.
Oh, honey.
I know,
anyway,
right?
So yeah, big loss. But I will say, after I just rolled my eyes and sneezed at that, I think that the reason why I straight up head over heels fell in love with this book is that this book is the first time I've ever seen criminal lawyering represented. What?
Be a good thing.
Well, not only that, but represented in a way that I recognize.
Ooh.
I feel like there were things that weren't super technically true. I felt when he lamented over his 40, he has 40 cases at one time. I wanted to laugh in his face. But the actual workload of it and how he felt on a day-to-day and the fact that he shares an office with another attorney and the amount he gets paid as a public defender in Brooklyn and what keeps him up at night.
Yeah.
And just everything, practical thing about how his job affected him was the first time I've ever seen my job reflected accurately in a romance novel. And I think there's really something to be said about that when you have these jobs that are over and over in romance.
Oh, yeah.
You see military, spies, lawyers, FBI, U.S. attorney books, all these things over and over. And I've never seen military or intelligence work or lawyering or law enforcement or SEALs or any of this stuff ever represented in a way that I recognize. And this was the first one. And it just made my heart soar. And he talks about, I'm sorry, I'm going to keep going.
Please,
he talks about this case he has with this 17-year-old who's being tried as an adult who participated in a sex trafficking ring.
Kinda, yeah. She was trafficked.
She did. She drove other girls, younger girls, to go get trafficked because she was coerced or, afraid. And he's trying to get her a not guilty based on that coercion. Mm-hmm. But he's not defending an innocent person, a person who didn't do it. It's not a whodunit. It's my client did these things but doesn't deserve this punishment, and I hope that this defense works.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps him up at night. And I really was happy.
Aww.
I was really happy with the lawyering in this book. It made me so happy.
Oh, yay.
The end.
I mean, I also thought it was really good. I obviously don't have your breadth of experience in that way, but one of the things that I really liked is that so often, especially criminal defense attorneys, are vilified in books. Mm-hmm. Usually when I see lawyers, it's the prosecutor is doing the laws and so good at job, puts everyone in jail. And that's supposed to be what we look up to. And everybody's man, that criminal defense attorney, I can't believe, how can they defend that person or whatever. And my whole thing is I liked the romance where, like you said, she wasn't innocent, right? It was a big, big gray area. But I loved that he communicated several times, no matter what, everyone deserves a defense. And not only a defense, but a robust defense. Criminal defense attorneys have to do their job really, really well, no matter the client, because if nothing else, you don't want to give a guilty client any grounds for appeals later on. The best thing, right?
I just feel like I've given this speech to you so many times, and I feel like I've really done something. So I feel like I've emboldened you with the language to go forth and teach the world.
Yes.
You just did.
This is most definitely a lot of your influence. But I don't know. I just really liked that he was a public defender. He was a civil servant. And like that was a good thing the whole time, no matter what. I loved it.
Yeah,
no matter
who
he was defending. It was really good.
Oh boy. It's July, folks. That means new Bonkers Book Club selections. And let me tell you, our cup runneth over. First, there's a historical smorgasbord. You get the entire box set of Nicola Davidson's Surrey SFS series. If you're not familiar, that stands for Sexual Freedom Society. This box set includes 5 ridiculously spicy historicals, with a variety of gender pairings and trios, and so much more that makes my heart sing. Then, Jenny and Katie are offering up one of their all-time favorites, Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. That's the mafia book where the heroine accidentally sets the hero's house on fire and then makes sure her mouth is full of strawberries because she knows he's extremely allergic. Best wedding kiss ever, right? And then we decided to do a little bonus. We wanted to see if audiobooks are something you'd like as part of book club. And Kay Lorraine and Meg Ann have a series called The Mate Games. You get to listen to Book 1, Obsession. It's a paranormal reverse harem that's done with duet narration. And the cast of narrators is insanely good. So, Joybringers have tons to look forward to. If you want to join, check out our website. The link is in the show notes.
Okay.
So then he thinks back on this date. He's like, he has had a real rough time with the fact that she left him on the date. Because he really liked her. He thought she was like way too hot and cool and put together.
He thought he was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen in
He
all
couldn't
of
believe
Brooklyn.
she was the one that was there for him.
Yeah.
It's very sweet.
He says like she was walking across the restaurant and I couldn't believe that she kept coming toward me. Like basically he was sure she was going to like make a U-turn and be with another dude any second there. And then she sat down in front of him. And then he said the stupidest 5 words that have ever come out of his mouth, he says.
Mm-hmm. It was very, very cute.
Yeah.
And we get to meet his best friend, Richie, who's also his office mate and I think trial partner.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And also we meet Crash Willis, who comes by to be an asshole. He's an ADA in the same place. And he's
his name is Crash.
Yes. And he drips money, it says. He's got like, what's his name? Okay, so one of the biggest pillars of this hero's whole persona is that he loathes people with money. He hates them.
Hates rich people.
He hates money. He hates rich people. He cannot stand any of it. And he's like, you know what? The only person who has teal loafers is a person who has at least 5 pairs of work shoes. And I'm like,
it is
you're
true.
Correct. But also, like, get off his nuts, you know?
But I also kind of love that he and Mary are both judging people by their shoes in chapter 1.
Yeah.
Because they're like,
Absolutely.
they're so different, but they're so similar too.
I know.
It's beautiful.
It's a really nice little parallel. You're right. Okay, so what else?
All right. So then at the very end of that
shop.
chapter, his mom shows up at his apartment and he knows she's about to like lecture him because probably Mary said something to her because they're friends.
So then we clip to Mary's shop. She's about to do the window display for June, and it's going to be all like bursting flowers and springtime goodness. So then this construction dude walks by the shop.
Oh,
and
right.
she's
I forgot
like,
about this.
And she's like, oh, hello, construction guy. And like gives him a tiny smile. And he like smiles back and then keeps walking. But then he comes in the store. He comes in.
Based on the smile. Like,
based on the smile. Yeah.
He's not in there.
He's
you
not
guys,
buying things
listen,
at her schmancy
Mary's
store.
like a fancy basic lady. She's
That's true.
She's always carrying around a mason jar. Wherever you look is a mason jar in this. It says in the thing, it's like she did another pallet of mason jars moved from left to right. Mason jars as far as the eye can see.
But she sells like $500 lamps. Like this is a high-end.
It's a fancy, high-end, boutique, very basic store.
Brooklyn
and
basic
she's always
store.
flitting around in her like Lily Pulitzer style dresses, like a lot of fit and flare floral dresses.
Yeah, that's true.
Bright colors.
A lot of sundresses. I do love a sundress. And they're always showing off her shoulders and slipping off her shoulder and stuff.
Always slipping off that shoulder. Okay. So this construction worker would not be the type of guy that would come into the shop.
No,
probably.
he's never used a
he's
mason
coming
jar in
in
his
just
life.
based on the alluring nature of Mary.
And so he's like trying to pretend to look around and stuff. And finally she's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to ask him out. And so she does, because he told her that he was divorced, or like he needed to see his ex-wife or something. And so she asked him out and he was like, ugh. When I said ex-wife, I meant like soon to be ex-wife, and like we're in mediation and stuff. And meanwhile, she knows that somebody has walked in the store and is hearing her get brutally shot down by this married man. And she's like, it's fine. It's a stranger. It's no big deal. And then she turns around and it's Estrella holding John by the elbow.
But dragging him
into the store.
To apologize.
And so she's like, I'm withering into a husk as we speak.
That's really rough.
The only person on the planet I don't want to see me get shot down like that is the man who thinks I'm actually a walking corpse. Not cool.
Yeah.
So then Estrella's like, oh, my son was taking me to lunch. Okay, I gotta go to the post office. Show him your shop, yeah? And so then they're standing there and he's like, we're not going to lunch.
It's like, she wants me to apologize because she told me that you have a good time no matter what you're doing ever. And if you didn't have a good time, it was probably my fault. So I guess I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like, I'm here to apologize. And she's like, oh, good. I'm really excited that you're doing it because your mom is making you. And he's like, no. I came here willingly. And then he does give a really good apology. He's like, yes, I was a jerk. I am rude. I'm like, he says, you're right. I'm not a nice boy. I'm preoccupied and I'm busy and I'm stressed and I'm rude and I was a dick and I said a stupid thing to you and I'm truly sorry from the bottom of my heart. That's almost verbatim. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Yes.
And she's like, wow, good apology. Okay. And then he fucks off.
No, I think that's when Estrella invites Mary to the block party.
You're right.
At her house.
You are right.
And I think that's the next scene.
That is the next scene.
So Mary gets all dressed up and she takes some kind of cake? Pie?
Yeah, something. She picks up a cake.
She takes a Smurf to the Smurf.
Yeah, and and Estrella told her to dress up because she needs to introduce her to a lot of nice boys.
Some singles.
Yeah.
Some additional
and she
nice
said
boys.
This in front of John, who she dragged into Mary's shop by his elbow.
You guys, Estrella is a queen.
She
the reason why Estrella knows Mary is she's like kind of like an old lady artist who like makes funky art to go in like her special Brooklyn basic lady high-end shop.
Estrella is honestly who I've always wanted to be, but I do not have an artistic bone in my body.
I see that about you.
Yeah.
Not that you don't have an artistic bone, but that you have a very, her aesthetic, it makes sense.
Do. A little bit zany. Very heartfelt. Okay.
Yes.
So.
Very into a medal. Would definitely do a medal if given
like
the opportunity.
Mixed medal, especially, you know? Whew. So she shows up
she
at this
goes to the block party. John is there.
And they give like a nod to each other.
Like a little,
like a head, like a chin up.
Like, and he is wearing the same outfit that he has worn the last 2 days, like a button up, but this time no tie, and black trousers, wingtip shoes.
The sleeves are rolled up,
and his sleeves are rolled up.
Are on display. I tell you, Romance. Yes,
but she does not identify him as a sexy man.
No, because he's still wearing wingtips.
Yeah, she identifies him as a man who
doesn't
party.
know how to have fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Who won't take off his work clothes even on the weekend. John.
Yes.
So then Estrella takes her over and she introduces her to Sammy. Samuel. And
then
they're
she's like,
chatting
I
or
must
whatever.
go do a schmurschmur. And she leaves them alone and they're having their flirt time.
Yeah. And so they're doing a big flirt. And then John comes up like a gargoyle on her shoulder. And he's like, Samuel, your wife is on the phone. And he's like, ex-wife John. And John takes like this casual sip of his beer and he goes, oh, is it official now? Has the paperwork
He takes a casual sip of his beer as his cold eyes wander the crowd. Like he doesn't even care. He's like, your wife's on the phone. He's so casually bored by the whole world, and I love it so much at the beginning of this book.
Yes. And so Mary's like, wow, his wife is not on the phone, is she? And he goes, yeah. Because in the store, she told him that a lot of times she doesn't find out the guy's married until they're already on the date. And like, she's glad she found out already. And so he goes, you told me you don't like married guys shooting their shot with you. So like, I saved you. You're welcome.
This is me doing a help.
That's right.
We are now even. So he goes, so they're like now awkward. Now they're standing together. And so he's like, so like, what's your deal? Are you like really desperate for dates or something? Because
oh my God.
His perspective is like, oh, his mom's setting her up with all these dates. She's like hooting at construction workers that are walking by her shop. Maybe like she really needs a man.
I love that in your universe she's catcalling construction workers.
Woo-hoo! She's going, woo!
Show me your
Isn't that
dick!
What happened?
What? Isn't that how you catcall? That's how it works, right?
I've never tried it.
When you catcall?
Woo! Is that it?
I think
Did I do it?
Meow! Yeah. That's it.
Good.
All right. So she turns on her heel and she goes, okay, great. Like, goodbye. And walks the fuck away.
No, she does a whole speech at him. She goes, has anyone ever told you that you're a complete sinkhole for happiness where good feelings go to die? Desperate? She quoted him with a scowl. Being 37 and flirting with a good-looking man at a party does not make me desperate. Wanting to meet someone does not make me desperate. Geez, which you probably had a problem with. You are the human manifestation of the sad trombone sound. Which I thought was
so
really
good.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He said, to answer your question, yes, people have told me that before, never quite so creatively, but yes, I've been known to bring down a mood.
He's so good.
I love him.
I know.
With all of my heart.
Oh my God. So then Estrella comes back over and she's like, you know what? No, we're not doing this anymore. I've got another boy to introduce you to. And so John looks over and he's like, for fuck's sake, Mom, you're that guy? Wait. What are you doing?
Time out.
I
also have a very soft place in my heart for men who call their mothers ma.
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
I know.
But throughout this book, he called Estrella ma.
I know.
And I love it.
I do too.
Okay.
Honestly, one of the sexiest things that happened early in my and Michael's relationship was he got on the phone and he said like, hi, Ma. And then listened for a second.
I don't know. What is it?
No,
why are we weird?
We're weirdos. Yeah, it's true. So I was like, already my ears were perked, right? And then he just like launches into Chinese. And I had never heard him speak Mandarin before. And I was like, oh, my pants are on fire. That's weird. That's
another language is a big deal.
Can't even.
Okay. All right. So anyway, so he's like, ma, oh my God, Jonah, for fuck's sake, which is the next guy in the lineup.
And Mary's like, okay, bye. I have to go like wash my face and disappear into the night because they're now fighting over this setup and like the whole block party is watching them. And so she comes out of the house after like, I don't know, splashing water on her face. She's also like a water splasher. Like, she wears a lot of makeup. No, you're right. No, she put water on the back of her neck. It's different. You're right. I'm a dick. You're right. So.
You are a dick. What? What's
so happening? She comes out of the brownstone, and he's sitting on the steps, passing his beer back and forth in his hands and waiting for her like a hot toadstool.
Like the nervous puppy that he is.
And so he's like, listen, I didn't like mean that before and I'm sorry, but like, let me make it up to you. I have a feeling. No, not yet.
Well, okay. Well, I just want to note that
Please.
he tells her, like, how his mom's weird. And like real quirky, and like how she has a boyfriend who like lives with her, but she doesn't call him her boyfriend. She calls him her tenant because she doesn't believe in premarital sex, but also she doesn't want to get married.
She doesn't believe in second marriages either. And then he says, but she does. She is a big believer in gray areas. And I loved him.
Yeah.
I love him.
She asks what's wrong with Jonah, and he says he's in his 30s and he dates barely legals on Tinder.
And he lives with his mom.
Yes. And so, like, they kind of strike a thing where he's going to know all of the people that the mom recommends. And so every time she gives Mary a name, if she just, like, texts that name to John, he will let her know the situation.
Right. And so she gives him her number, and he texts her so that they have number. They exchange numbers or whatever. And then she goes home, basically. Like, she has a good time for the rest of the block party and then leaves. And then what happens? So I think now they're like sitting at drinks, John and Richie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're sitting in the bar.
He again apologizes for putting his foot in his mouth when he said she was desperate.
Yes.
So it isn't like just one thing at the beginning of the book that gets said and then no one ever addresses it again or like talks about it. He keeps saying bullshit that he keeps apologizing for.
That's true.
Okay.
That's definitely true.
So the next scene is... I don't remember what he's
at the bar,
doing, but she texts him a name. Okay.
Or maybe he's at work. Doesn't matter.
I can't remember if he's at work or the bar.
And
he's at
like,
work.
Okay, great. Love it.
After hours. It is 6 p.m. He is buried in paperwork.
Okay, so he
should
be
this
at the
random
bar,
text.
but he is at work.
He should be at the bar, but he's not. Yes.
Yeah, and it's just two words, and it's his middle school bully. And he's like, the fuck? Like, is this guy texting me? And then he realizes, oh my God. And he's like, hard no. He froze my underwear, and he kicked me in the stomach one time, and he's a meanie head, and it's bad. And then he's like, delete. But
he also gets a heart flutter because he got a text from a pretty girl.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it was a text about a date with another man.
But then he's like, I cannot tell Mary what a loser I have been in former lives. And so he deletes all of that, and he's like, he's a bully. And she's like, okay, cool. Don't want to do that.
And she says she'll tell Estrella that she's busy. And then she texts him. Then there like some time goes by. And then she texts him a sunshine emoji. Yeah. And he gets like really weird about it. He's like, a sunshine emoji? Like, what could it mean? Probably nothing. But maybe it means something.
Yeah, the sun is smiling at me. Does that mean anything? Is she just telling me like how her hair looks right now because she's so radiant all the time? I don't know. And then he's like, I have to do work. I have paperwork, do work.
Yeah, this is where he talks about it's not 40 cases, it's 30 to 40 cases.
Yeah.
Ooh, John.
But you told me that is the federally recommended load, right?
Probably.
So if Cara Bastone was doing a Google, that would be incredibly accurate.
This is not Cara's fault. But here's what I really liked. Nothing is. She's perfect. It says, okay, John found that he didn't have the time for indulgences like texting pretty girls, especially not when he had 2 separate murder 1 cases in his caseload, plus that sex trafficking case that was keeping him up at night. The murder 1s aren't keeping him up at night.
No.
I just loved it. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Do you want to tell us why, like specifically?
Well, it's because he cares about the other one is an injustice. I think I've said this on the show before. No, I've said that you guys just go listen to Movie Briefs. This is all I talk about on that show.
Oh yeah,
go listen to Movie Briefs.
True.
This is all we talk about. But the murder 1s aren't keeping him up at night. The 17-year-old that might go to jail for 20 years for sex trafficking and then be a sex offender and all these different things, that is
completely, and
maybe get deported. I can't remember if she's a citizen or not. That was part of it as well. Anyway.
I don't know.
Okay. Next, he's at the bar with Richie, and he gets another text from her about a different guy who's a drug dealer, and they have, like, a nice little conversation about, like, what's wrong with being a drug dealer and, like, what the difference is between, like, kind of being a drug dealer and, like, being a, like, hard drugs drug dealer. Right. And, like, how everybody's innocent until proven guilty, and he gets a little heart sore based on her, like, ideals. There's a cop that comes by and flirts with Richie. Apparently Richie, his best friend, has an unrequited love with a cop named Hogan, which isn't really important, but it's kind of a thread throughout.
Yeah, and the cop is super straight. But they have this
conversation at the bar about, like, Hogan is cocky.
Yes.
And
He's a cocky asshole.
Basically, a cocky asshole being irresistible. And
right. And John is like,
John's
I'm sorry.
Like,
no.
That's not true.
Right.
Everyone thinks
asshole.
I'm an asshole and that I'm cocky. And no one likes me. Everyone hates me for it all the time. I'm always saying mean things and no one likes it about me.
Richard says, no. You are mistaken. You're not a cocky asshole. You're a self-assured dick. And he's like, what? What's the difference? And they're like, cocky assholes have swagger. You do it accidentally and you just like fall over yourself afterwards.
Highly repellent, he says.
Highly repellent.
The difference is that a cocky asshole knows he's an asshole and uses his assholishness swagger to charm and otherwise assert sexual dominance, Marissa, the bartender, said, pushing up her glasses. Self-assured dicks don't even realize they're being dicks until after they've hurt everyone's feelings.
It's true.
Oh, John frowned. Yeah, that actually sounds pretty accurate. I love him. Erin love a self-assured dick. What problem? What is problem? Be with me.
It's true. It's true.
Okay.
All right. So now I think her friends are over at her shop.
Yes. We go through the friends. This is the third book in a series. I think they wanted to update us on how pregnant and how married they all are. It's fine.
Right. So then, okay, so they're all over. They were supposed to have a girls' night, but she's stuck in the shop because her employee didn't show up. And so Estrella comes in, and they're like, we were promised tacos, but this place doesn't deliver. And Estrella goes, oh, no. That place definitely delivers for me. Hold on, I'll make a quick call. And so they're like, wow, this is great. Estrella's like super connected. But then like walks in John, like, you know, he's like a pack mule for all of their tacos. And
he goes, hi, Ma.
Yeah, he goes, hi, Ma. Here's your tacos.
Here's the tacos that you made me go get for your friends.
Yeah, and Mary is like shocked to see him. She does not know what to do with herself.
And he kisses his mother on the cheek.
Oh, boy, does he kiss her right on the cheek.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, did you at least order him some tacos? And then Estrella goes, I'm not a monster. And then John gets really upset and he's like, God, Ma, you shouldn't have done that. I didn't eat goddamn dinner. Yeah. And then he pulls out his wallet and he's like fishing through the bills. And she's like, no. You went all this way. You brought me my dinner. Like, the least I can do is pay for your dinner. And he's like, don't you dare. I'm a man. I can pay for my own stuff, you rich person. Grr. And like, he's throwing money at her and stuff. So then they have dinner and it's really cute.
She sees him laugh for the first time. She can tell by the way that he's standing that he has a headache and he's had a bad day. And he says that he had a real low point today and she thought it was like seeing her and bringing the tacos, but really he lost a case that he really cared about and he's really bedraggled and down.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, they eat tacos, Melody. Right, that's what happened.
I don't have notes for this part.
And he kind of like fits in with her friends.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like she notices kind of when he smiles and when she notices that like maybe he's a sexy man. And it's very nice.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he loses his ID.
He gets Oh, we don't know that yet. I don't think.
Sorry.
But yeah, he did leave his ID there.
Yeah, when he was fishing out the monies, he tossed his ID on the floor.
So then she gets the name Maddox Whitford. His name is John Modesto Whitford. And he realizes the situation is that the mom is trying to set her up with basically like all of his worst enemies in order to get them back together. So they decide that...
Wait. No, this is so cute.
What?
So he's going to go over there. He's like already walking to the train. And then he's like, oh my God, I look like crap. I smell terrible. I've already sweated through this shirt. I cannot see Mary like this. So he goes home and then he's like, I'm not going to examine why I took a full shower and like, you know, brushed my teeth just to make a phone call to a pretty girl. I'm not going to think about that. And then he does call her. And she's like...
He dresses up to call her on the
phone. So she's like, hey, John, is everything okay? And he's like, oh, yeah, it is weird that I'm calling you, huh? But he's like, he goes, there is a fucking relation. She's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, Maddox Whitford is my screw-up little brother. And now I know what's going on. It's Estrella. She's meddling. What's up?
He also first confirmed with Maddox that the mom hadn't even, like, talked to him. She has no intention of actually setting her up with these guys. Anyway, just
Not
making
at all.
sure the listener knew that.
And so then they're like, she's like, oh man, so are we going to tell her the jig is up? And he's like, or we could fuck with her.
Right.
She's like, tell me everything. And he's like, I think that you should say, yeah, I'll go on a date with this guy. And then maybe you have somebody there that you can bump into if he actually shows up. But if he doesn't show up, then we definitely know that this is what she's doing.
Right.
And she's like, well, I can't ask any of my friends to do that. Like, they are busy with life. And he's about to say, he's on the tip of his tongue, like, I
can do it.
I could be there for you. But he's like, no, I couldn't do that. She'll see right through me. She'll see that I love her so much down to her bones. I can't say that. And then she goes, well, could you be there? Could you be the person that I bump into?
And he's like, me? I guess.
Yeah. It's true. No, I could. I could do that.
Yeah.
Sure. You know.
Sure. Yeah,
it sounds like a thing that is most expedient, I suppose.
Yeah.
And man, it is so cute. So they do set up this date, and she's supposed to go out with the drug dealer, probably.
Yes.
No, the bully, probably. And so she sits down. He's already at the bar, sitting at the bar. And then she's at the front window, sitting at, a table or whatever. And as like the minutes are ticking by, he's got this warm beer and he's thinking to himself, you know what? Fuck this.
Because he got there so early because he didn't want her to potentially be there alone and have the guy actually be there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, because he's the best. But he's sitting there and he's like sort of like gaming it out in his mind. And he's like, she's so beautiful. I like her so much. I shouldn't need a reason to go over there. I should just go over there because I like her. Like, it shouldn't be marry this fuckface and then me. I'll just delete this guy and I'll delete my mom and then it's just Mary and John. And we could just be two people at a restaurant. That sounds awesome. And he's about to walk across the restaurant. Too. Oh yeah.
He was going to sit down and say, I want to be on this date, but like smoother.
Yeah. Basically, he was like, I want to literally and metaphorically go and take that guy's seat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to do it.
I'm going to be brave.
Then I'm going to tell her how I feel about her. And then she's like, did you get a text from your mom too?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, she's right there at the bar. She has snuck up on him as he was psyching himself up.
And now his plan is all weird because he can't.
He's like, do I just invite her to sit down? Like, that's not as good as like, crossing and being the, assertive person and all that. And he's just, he's a total screw up in his mind. And so Mary's like, I just got a text from Estrella that says, dude's not going to show up. He has other plans or whatever. And then John got a text from his mom that says, oh, Mary got stood up, the poor girl. Will you go walk her home? She's at this restaurant.
Ha! I want to say that we did skip a scene where she returned his ID at the Supreme Court. Like she called.
I told you.
I know, but that scene came before the bar scene.
Sorry.
But we didn't know that until so basically she's got like a psychic friend or whatever that's like, return his ID. So she like finds out he's at the Supreme Court and like catches him and he's really sweaty and he's got to get to Rikers by a certain time and he like has to get a falafel because he's too busy to get a lunch and she like finds him at courtroom security, which is like really cool, and they take the train together.
And then he meets Richie and they take the train together and it's a whole thing. And the other thing is that she is on her way to see her parents, which is another like, it's a subplot in this is Mary's relationship with her mother. Yes. And so she does go out there and her mom is like picking at her and she's the worst. And basically her mom is always like, you're old, you're crusty, you need to get married immediately and like start popping out babies or you're going to die alone. And then and she starts talking about like her aunt because Mary lost her aunt 5 years ago to cancer. And that was her mom's sister. And like, that's a whole terrible wound that both of them are still trying to navigate. But her mom, since her sister died, has been like, I don't want you to end up alone and, sick and downtrodden or whatever.
It's a whole thing that doesn't quite like connect the dots for me, but the idea is like we don't find out until later in the book, but the aunt didn't want to get treatment for her cancer near the end, and the mom thinks that if she had a family, she would have gotten treatment. And so she's now really forcing Mary, really pushing Mary, who reminds her a lot of her sister, to like settle down and get a family so that she won't, so that she'll have value to her life, I guess.
Yeah, but one thing I do want to note for the record is that this is just the latest thing that her mom is needling her about. Like, this is just the way that her mom interacts with Mary all the time. It just depends. Like, the topic just changes.
Right.
She's just a huge bitch who should go away.
So you know how after the fake date with Elijah that the mom texted, "Would you be a dear and walk her home?" He does, in fact, walk her home.
He does. And some very wonderful things happen on this walk.
Cara Bastone, she does describe the feeling of having a crush on someone so well and being like nervous around somebody else like that. She's very, very talented at that. Anyway, so they're walking home. She gets an alert from her new dating app called Silver Fox, and then they figure out that it's not.
He's like, I hope that she's not trying to date older guys because of that stupid thing that I said to her, because that's stupid and she shouldn't. And that's exactly why she's doing
exactly why she is.
And so as he's looking at it, he's seeing like a metric fuck ton of dick pics in her inbox. And then he realizes that it's spelled F***X. And then he's like, usually that indicates that it's a curse word. And she's like, wait, you think it's silver fucks? And he's like, yeah. And like there, she's beside
like an old
herself.
People Tinder.
It's an old people hookup app, and it's the best. But the other thing is, she's like, yeah, your mom said that I'm a poor girl or whatever, and I guess she's right. I mean, here I am, Friday night, and the man who's walking me home has already been crossed off the list. And so John, who's been working himself up to tell her how he feels, is like, oh, God, crossed off the list sounds very final.
Yes.
I guess I will just keep my feelings to myself. And this is where he's like, Mary, did I ruin all the chances for us to ever be? And she's like, friends! And I wanted to punch her in the face. Chill, Mary. Stop talking. Let him finish a thought. Right? Like,
sure, yes.
Book would have been over. They would be together. Let him finish a thought.
I'm sorry. Did you not love reading second half of book?
I loved the second half of book. It's just like these like minor miscommunications. Just, I know they're real, and I know that like they happen and stuff. But like, just talk to people. Just talk, and then this won't happen. Then you can bone.
But
also like talk, and then you can bone, right?
Yeah,
like it's much. Let's do a straighter line. It's a bad. The genitals then it would be mashing together.
Bad book. So he also lets her in on the fact that his father is a big fancy guy.
Yeah,
he was the
DA of Manhattan
candidate for the New York, the whole thing.
He's like a trust fund man.
Yes,
big rich man trust fund dude.
And this is part of where, so he left his mom and disowned him because John has blue eyes, and both John's mom and dad have brown eyes. And I guess the man who may have been the mayor of New York City doesn't understand recessive traits and dominant traits and how they work.
Listen to me. This is what Estrella has told John, and he worships her so much that he believes it. What actually happened is that he was already boning that other chick. He liked her more than he did Estrella.
Fanfic. This is not in book.
And he's like,
this isn't in book.
Oh, look, that kid doesn't look like me. That's a great reason to kick you to the curb. No, I'm just saying that, like, I hear you. Your thing
it is not in book.
Your thing was the thing that actually happened in book. My thing is the thing that Erin, that Estrella told to John, and John was like, I'll never question this ever. There's no way that. P.S. Most white babies are born with blue or gray eyes, and then they change over time. Like, this is not a thing, and that's not why he left her. It's just the story that has been concocted to save everyone their feelings.
Well, then Estrella is a bitch because that is a horrible thing to say to a child.
That's true. Yeah.
And I don't think Estrella is a fucking monster. Like, I don't think she's like, Dad just didn't love me anymore. No, it was you. No, you were the reason we got a divorce. He left you, and to leave you, he had to leave me. Like, that is a horrible thing to say.
I'm not saying that Estrella did that to him. I'm saying that fuckface McTrust Fund was like, that I'm leaving because that baby doesn't look like me. It's not because I'm already dipping my wick in that other bitch. It's, you know what I mean? Like, that was just his quote unquote reason, because he's an asshole. Anyway, so that's a whole thing. And so John says to her, he says, yes, Erin.
Well, I want to say that throughout this book, it is a theme. Like, when he's on the train with her and he sees her Prada bag and he sees all her stuff and, like, she's too rich for him and he hates rich people. And, like, these are circles he can't run in because he's just a poor public defender with a box fan in his window in a studio apartment. And, like, he rejected the trust fund from his father.
Oh, we're going to get to that.
Okay, because, like, I feel like he's always like, these are people that I couldn't possibly be. And it's like, no, you made the choice to not be around these people. And that's fine. Completely legitimate choice. But you were born into this privilege if you wanted it.
Yes. You could have just reached out your hand and had that privilege handed to you.
And I think his choice is great. But
I agree with you. But I think the overarching thing that bothered me in this book is that his psychology was completely contradictory throughout. He's like, I can't be that person, except he absolutely could be that person. I don't like those people, except, like, Mary's really great. And, like, I don't want to be some of those people, but if I was, I could be with Mary. And I'm like, pick a lane. Pick one.
But everything else about him is
perfect.
Straight up fucking perfect.
I know.
And how dare you? How dare you finish the point that I myself was making?
How dare I?
I can shit talk this hero, but other people can't.
And Sasquatch. And you know how much we love a Bigfoot. Each episode, they read stories from their listeners and debate what really happened. There's a lot of funny banter, booze, gasps, and giggles every week. It feels like you're hanging out with old friends telling spooky stories, but at happy hour. New episodes are released every Thursday, so grab your favorite beverage and settle in for some good haunts, whether you believe or not. Okay. Oh, the other thing. So we find out that his father totally walked away from him. He had no support, no nothing. His mom was a single mom and she made it work. But when he was older, like 10 years ago or something, he, like, went into his office and he was gonna be like, I'm your son and this is how it happened and these are how recessive genes work and But when he walked in, his dad realized that he looked and sounded exactly like his just deceased father. And he was like, oh my God, like, you know, it's a ghost walking into my office. Oh no, it's a
ghost of my father.
Yeah.
The boy.
It's the boy.
The boy has returned.
The prodigal son. No, he's the prodigal father. Listen, I don't know how that works. So this is when they like start having a relationship, and his dad since then, for the past decade, has been like trying to throw money and connections and all the things at him because he's trying to make up for lost time.
Right. So now we've got John and Estrella. And Estrella's trying to, like, I forget what she says, but she's trying to, like, get them together in another way.
Oh, yeah, he calls her, and he's like, Mom, you gotta stop.
And yeah, he's like, you gotta stop. At first, it was, like, kind of funny or whatever, but now it's getting to, and he thinks, like, it's painful. It's now painful. And she realizes, like, oh, no, you have feelings for her, and she doesn't like you back.
Can I do a weird nitpick? Oh, no.
Stop it! I really like this book, and I never do this when you like a book.
That's totally false. Nice try. You couldn't even get that out with a straight face.
When you like a book, I just get on side, and I just write it. And how dare you not like my book?
My small nitpick is that, so they're talking on the phone. And then he has a funny voice. And then it says, and with a mother's 20/20 vision, she realized that, oh, you have feelings for him. Which, so many levels here. First of all, she can't actually see him. They're on the phone.
Jesus, Mom!
Second of all, no, listen, shut your mouth. Shut your whore mouth. So, second of all, if she were to use some sort of vision in that moment, wouldn't it be X-ray vision? Right? Wouldn't it be X-ray vision?
With a mother's, you wanted special Princess Angel Cara Bastone to write, with a mother's X-ray vision, she knew. That's the line that you wanted her to write. How dare you?
How is 20/20 vision better?
No.
20/20 vision just makes less sense.
It's better than X-ray. It may not be a perfect analogy, but it's better than X-ray.
I'm not saying X-ray
vision
is a good thing to write. I'm just saying that it makes a metric fuck ton more sense in this situation. That's all. Small nitpick. I read it and I was like, what? How does 20/20 vision help in this moment? I don't think that's the way that works. Wouldn't you just
feel
see
every
something
time I really
perfectly?
like a book, all you do is trash it, and it's just not fair. And we've gotten a few emails about it, just how negative you are all the time about the books that I love.
You're such a dumbass.
Yeah, we get a lot of. It's all on Facebook, actually. Since you left Facebook, I've gotten a lot of Facebook messages that are like, I just really wish Melody was more positive about books that Erin likes. We really gravitate towards the positivity Erin brings to the podcast, but sometimes the negativity that Melody has, it brings us down. And I mean, you can cut this out if you want. I'm just trying to tell you.
You're just trying to, constructive criticism. I get it.
Yeah, I just want you to know. I just felt like you had the right to know.
I hear you. I'm seeing what you're doing here with my X-ray vision. So. Okay. So now. So Estrella's like, oh no, you love her so much. Because she has
with mother's intuition is what she has. So then they're at the bar. Is this a two-parter? I don't know, it might be. This is such a short book. This is the reason why we picked the short book.
Okay,
so they're he's at the bar with Richie, and Richie does a little to his phone. And he's like, it's because Mary's so funny. And John's like, you're texting with Mary? And it turns out Mary has become besties with all of John's friend. Since she brought his ID to him at the Supreme Court.
They're playing Words with Friends together, and she does a good smack talk. And she actually beats Richie. She's the only person who can beat him. And so then John is like, no, the reason that I'm down is because I really like Mary, but she doesn't like me back, and I have no chance with her. And then Richie just goes sheet white, and he's like, "Oh God."
He says he needs to stop being around her so much, and then because he had just taken a 2-week break from Mary, and he's like, it's starting to feel a little bit better because I'm not around her so much, and I'm starting to not have so much panicky feelings in my chest all the time because of how I have an unrequited crush on a girl, and then
Richie's like, "Oh God, I invited her." Oh no, I wish I had known that. So Mary shows up and she's like, hi, I'm a ray of beautiful sunshine, and look at my sundress, and I am the best. Look at my hair. Can I have just a really shitty beer? I would love just a really shitty beer.
She points to John's beer and she says, yours? And then she takes a drink of it.
And then she drinks it.
And he's mesmerized.
And he pops a tent like none other.
Stop making my book crude. It's beautiful. He watches. It's not about boners. It's about love, Melody.
It's about heart boners. Shut up. It can be two things can happen at the same time.
Well, yeah, he pops a heart tent. Okay.
It also says that he looks at the way her lips are on that glass.
Yeah,
Erin.
Love. Okay. It's a love. Yeah, it's a love horny though. It's a love horny.
But there's still a tent, and it's still in the pants region.
Fine.
Honestly.
Well, I just don't listen.
So then she orders the revolutionary drink of 3/4 beer and 1/4 lemonade. Mm-hmm. And John's like, I've never heard the word Shandy before. And then as they're walking out, Mary's like, I'm going to have a party tomorrow. Can you guys come on Saturday or whatever?
Yes.
And John like makes a show of checking his calendar and he's like, I suppose I could make it, even though he knows he's totally free. Mm-hmm. And Richie's like, yeah, we'll be there. So she's coming up her stairs.
But also, like, that hot cop does flirt with her. And she keeps, like, that's when she's, like, kicking John, like, in the shin to try to get him to save her from hot cop. That was cool.
That was great. And so he does save her. And that's when she meets Beth, too. Beth, the other cop that everybody likes.
Yeah.
And then she finds out that Richie has a crush on Hogan, the cocky asshole. And she's like, no, that guy really? And John's like, oh, be still my heart. And then he says, man, I got to take you to gay bars because then you can't cock block me. And John's like, hey, I'd go to gay bars with you. And he's like, yeah, but when you come with me, you're the one who's cock blocking me, because they love like the gruff, aloof thing he's got going on. And then she says, well, it serves you right for bringing your hot friend to gay bars. And John's like,
he's like swooning. He like nearly passed out. He's like grabbing on the bar. Like, did it happen?
Did she say I'm hot? Am I hot to marry?
Oh my gosh!
And he like still like as they're walking out of the bar, he's still thinking about her calling him hot. Okay, so now she's walking up the stairs like the day before the party with all the bags of groceries and stuff. And she kind of freaks out a little bit because her door is open. And she's like, oh no, I'm the only person who lives here. What the fuck? So she goes in and it's her mother. And her mother's like, your tulips are wilting. And wow, that's a lot of food you've got there. And Mary's like, Mom, I'm having a party. Stop being an asshole.
Yeah. And then she is an asshole. Oh. She talks about how she's going to like die alone and stuff. And it's like the worst.
They go to the cemetery to visit Tiff. And Tiff is like sitting there and her mom is crying and she's never seen her mom like openly grieve for her aunt. And then her mom turns to her with her teary eyes and she's like, is this what you want? To be buried between two strangers?
Oh, this mother.
Oh my God. And so Mary does the right thing and she just walks away. And then the mom is like, I didn't mean it. And one of my favorite lines in this book, Mary looks at her dead in the face and she goes, Mom, you did mean it. You just don't like my reaction to it.
Yep.
And I have said those words out loud.
It's the best.
Boy,
I really liked. I really like how the mother thing ends up in this book.
Me too.
Like I felt like they were going to try to bring it back around and they don't really. And that's great. Like that's the best way that could end.
Yeah, I loved it. I don't like the fact that she's 37 and doing this.
Sure.
But, we all have our own journeys.
Yes.
Okay, so then now it's the party. It's party time. Party. We're doing a party. And everybody comes over to Mary's house. And John shows up. And it is hot. He is wearing those wingtips, but he does take them off. And he brings...
And so he is wearing his party outfit.
He is.
Which is the same shirt that he wears every day, but with the sleeves rolled up. And then he has a paper bag with a cheap beer and a lemonade in it.
And an expensive lemonade.
Yes.
Cheap beer, expensive lemonade. And she's like, you're the perfect man.
Yes.
And so
it was very
He does
cute.
a lot of like playing with kids and stuff.
But wait, he looks around her house with his judgy face. Yeah. And she with his stern judgy face, and she like physically moves his eyebrows so that they're less judgy and makes his face happy. I loved it. I really loved it.
I loved it.
And then he does only hang out with kids at the party.
Yeah.
And does like a puzzle maybe or something. Yeah. Which surprises her because he's such a stern, gruff man. And Richie says that, no, he's just really socially awkward and he's not really good at making small talk with strangers. So he gravitates toward children who are easier to talk to.
He's really comfortable with kids. Yeah. And so then she finds out that he's vegan because he's worried about his carbon footprint. And she's like, oh my God. And she's like, you are just an enigma wrapped in a mystery. But she's liking every piece that comes to her.
Him so much.
And then she's like, hold on. I think things are changing between John and I.
He's just so burdened by the weight of the world. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
Okay, so she's like, I'm pretty sure that John likes me now. Like, I think, he's maybe could look past the age and get up on me a little bit. I don't know.
Yes.
And so she is walking back into the party after having done something, and she hears Tyler, one of her best friends, talking to John. And Tyler's like, hey man, so are you interested in Mary or what? Because Tyler's a little protective after finding out the horrible thing that John said to her.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my biggest giantess issue with the book in this moment. Do you want to hear it? No, you don't. You're going to. You're going to. So he says, do you want to date Mary? And there's this really long pause and he doesn't know what to say. And then he says, Mary and I are just at different stages of our life.
Yes.
And this makes absolutely no sense. Here's why.
What?
Shut your mouth. Here's why. Being in a different stages in life. You don't like this role reversal, do you?
I don't like it at all. It hurts.
Being at different stages in life implies that he has financial ambition and he wants to get to where Mary is, but he's not there yet, right? A stage where you're supposed, if you're on parallel tracks, you're going to get there eventually, but not now. Now, I think that we could have had the same conflict just with different wording. Because here's the thing. Like you said earlier, he has no financial ambition because he could be in Mary's stage or well beyond it if he just called his dad and say, hey, trust fund ? And dad would fall over himself to throw money at him. He can access this stage whenever the fuck he wants. So if we were going to have the same conflict or do a different thing, maybe he could have said something like her tastes are too refined for me, right? Because he's always talking about how nice her apartment is. And then it could be, I'm old.
No, because Mary has to interpret it as she's old.
I understand that she doesn't have to, though, right? I'm just proposing a different, very related conflict. Then it would be, I'm old, I'm desperate, and I'm snobby. This is what John thinks of me, right? Or Erin, and I think you're going to like this more.
I doubt it.
He could have said something like, she's a bit too sophisticated for me. Now, that would make sense on his level because that means, in his mind, he could mean, financially sophisticated. She has higher taste. She has better taste than he does or whatever because she's had access to moneyed things. And then in her brain, she could be sophistication. They call older women, oh, she's so sophisticated. She's so elegant. And then she could have been oh my God, I'm still so fucking geriatric to him. And the same conflict could have happened. But being in different stages in life does not indicate what John wants it to indicate at all. There we go.
May I?
Please, come back.
I think the better line that you're searching for is that maybe she's too mature for him.
No, but I don't think so.
Here's the thing. John's lying.
I'm saying, no, because mature, his thing has to be financial.
Sure, I guess. But, he's lying. He does want to date Mary.
No, but
if Mary asked him out today, he would. He would not actually have that conflict.
Not lying. He's not lying. What he is saying, he is communicating his self-consciousness that
I understand. I understand that, but he's trying to think of something on the spot to say, and that's the first thing he thought of.
He's trying to say, I'm not in her league.
Yeah.
Because we're at very different places financially. And then we have to somehow get to her thinking, oh, he still thinks I'm a dinosaur.
This is such a nitpick. I can't.
It's not. Being at different stages in life does not make sense for what he's trying to say out loud. It does not make a lick of fucking sense, Erin.
You're right.
Say it.
But I did.
Say it.
I did.
I didn't hear you.
I did. You heard it.
Nope.
I
didn't. I didn't hear it.
You didn't.
I would like to hear it.
You bitch. You're right about it. But you're
eating that word.
I think that he's thinking on his feet And he's trying to think of a thing to say, and that's just what
so
he
says a thing that's gonna
that doesn't make sense, maybe, because he's just trying to think of something to say that's not like, I would super love to dick down your friend. You're grasping at straws. You're grasping at criticisms that don't matter in a near perfect book.
No, I have a very reasoned explanation for my thoughts.
I heard
on
it.
this.
I was here. I sat through the whole thing. I went and got a snack. I came back. Is this what it's like for you every time? I'm so sorry.
No, I actually like it. It's fun.
Okay.
It's fun. It keeps me on my toes, too. I have to, like, come up with defenses on the spot.
I don't like it at all. Also, Mary notices that for, like, her friends, he checks out her younger friends.
Yeah.
The wives of her male friends that are younger than them.
Yeah. He'll, like, actually look at their bodies. Right.
Yes. And he never does that to her. And she realizes that he thinks that she's like the crypt keeper.
Yeah.
So then we have a scene with John's little brother Maddox that sets up another book.
Nope. We're not doing that. What we're doing is, Mary, it's 3 in the morning and Mary's shop gets broken into. Crash, bang, thievery.
Was that before this?
No, we're just not talking about Maddox. It's a scene that doesn't matter.
I was already done talking about it.
Oh, okay.
I said it sets up another book and we're not going to talk about it. Was the next thing that was going to be out of my mouth.
There's a delay or something. I'm sorry.
Jeez.
Sorry.
My God.
So anyway. Oh, no, there's a thievery happening.
There's a thief in Mary's shop. And she does live above that shop. I don't think we mentioned that before.
Yeah,
and she hears all this stuff and she sits down and she calls 911. And I'm really glad that was a cut scene and we don't have to deal with any of the cops coming in the logistics.
Same. So then the next day,
John's at work.
And Beth shows up. Beth, the cop, is like, hey, your girl is like, her place is so trashed.
Yes.
And I need you to know that.
It's a crime scene and there's guys there right now doing the cop stuff. And he's like, oh, should I call her? And they're like, no, you need to go over there, you idiot. He says,
should I call my mom? Is what he says. Should I call over there? Estrella to go? And Richie's like, no, asshole. You are going to go. And John's like, oh, yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to do. So he goes over there. Erin is so mad at me. She's gnashing her teeth. So he goes over there.
Gnashes?
I think so.
Is that what they do when they're mad in Shakespeare? Is that? It's strange. Anyway.
Okay. So he goes up and he looks at her and she's like laughing with the cop or whatever. And he's like, oh my God. Even
he expected her to be
moments,
like,
she's
he expected her to be like crying.
But then she looks over at him and she's like, John, you're here. And then she bounds across her house and throws herself into his arms. And she puts her head on his heart or something. And he kisses her head and stuff. It's a big embrace. The only reason their hips aren't touching, it says, is because his messenger bag is on. Mm-hmm. And then he does take off that messenger bag to give her a real serious hug. Mm-hmm. So then she's like, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so relieved. She does start crying at that point. And he's like, wow, even when she's crying, she's just a beautiful, radiant blossom flower. And then he's like, do you have anybody to call? Can you go anywhere? And she's like, no, not really. But she doesn't want to be in the house. And so he's like, you can come to mine if you want.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, yeah, okay, I'll go pack a bag and we'll go right now. And then he's like, oh, no.
And he doesn't even think about it until they get there, that he lives in a studio that just has like one bed and like nowhere to sit. Yeah. Like there's a couch, but you can't sleep on it.
And he thinks to himself, I mean, I could do the only one bed thing. And then in my mind, we would go to sleep and then we'd wake up and be snuggled and in love.
He's honorable.
Well, no, but then he says, oh, that's not how it would work. I would wake up snuggled and in love, and she would wake up being snuggled and creeped the fuck out.
Yes. Is this 2 parts?
I think it is.
I'm sorry, HBs. I didn't mean for this to happen.
Yeah.
It's just, this is the best book I've ever read. No, it's not the best book I've ever read, but it's very,
it's
very
really
good. And please read it.
It's a really good book. I loved it. I loved it. I know I'm doing stupid small things about it, but I really did love it. I'm doing stupid small things about it. Oh, no problem.
Small things.
No, do you want me to say it like louder into the microphone and not be bashful about it? Really own what I'm doing right now? Is that what I should do?
Understand.
I'm doing some stupid small nitpicks on this thing, and I know it. And I just want to clearly communicate that to the HBs because I think that's the most honorable and transparent and correct thing to do.
Yes, and I'm glad you've done that.
I'm glad I've done that too.
Yeah, I am glad. We're saying the same thing, Melody.
We are.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a lady love?
I guess. So my doctor called me this morning.
Yeah.
I had a physical last week, and my doctor called me, and I have, quote, dangerously low levels of vitamins, all of them. I'm anemic. I have my vitamin D is at a 5, and I guess it should be at a 50. Oh. I didn't know. I have no vitamins in me, probably because all I do is lay around and eat macaroni and cheese anymore. So
we should get you a transfusion of vitamin. Can we get you a vitamin?
Eat a vitamin. No, she did prescribe me like a horse pill I've got to take every week, and then also like a daily.
Yeah.
And I have no iron in me whatsoever. Apparently, my bones are turning to chalk. The side effects for this situation are like being sad
and like stressed out.
Also, confused, which I am every day. Falls, which I do fall a lot.
Oh no, Erin.
Yeah. And somebody recently said to me that they had never falling, like how terrifying it would be to fall down the stairs. And that, like, they've never fallen down the stairs and how scary that would be. And I was like, I fall down the stairs like 2 or 3 times a month at least. Like, I fall down the stairs like all the time. Is that because I don't have any vitamins in me?
I think it might be your vitamin deficiency.
And then another thing is that you constantly crave dirt and blood. You crave eating dirt and blood. Is that what you're doing
lately?
So it does.
Is that what's happening in your house these days?
Describe most of the things about me. Isn't that strange, though? I was reading the side effects. It was like unexplained cravings for dirt and blood. And I was like, unexplained cravings? Who's like, yum, I would really like to take a bite of that dirt clump.
And here are the 30 reasons why.
I have a good explanation for it. And in fact, this would be, I think, the only explanation is like, I must be deficient.
Yeah, it's like a dog eating grass. They don't know why, but they gotta.
Yeah.
It'll make their tummy feel better.
So,
so what you're saying is you need to swing back all the way on the pendulum to when you used to eat vitamins as snacks.
I've been so afraid of vitamins. It's like, you know, when somebody has like an addiction and then they go to the hospital and like they can't have any pain meds, you know, because they have like an addiction and, you know, the pain meds might be triggering in a way. It's not like that. People have actual problems. This isn't a real problem. Actually, it is. My bones are turning to chalk, but the thing that I'm talking about right now is not an actual problem. It's like that. It's like I've been scared to take vitamins because you might again poison myself with vitamin A. And now I have so little vitamin A that I'm slowly dying like a young old crone, just like shriveling up. Oh, no. Like my friend was telling me my friend's wife is a like medical device person who does like puts things in people. Like devices, medical ones.
Right.
And they screw into bones. And she was telling him about this lady that her bones were just chalk because she was so bad at eating. And now I'm like, what if I need a screw in my bone? and it's just going to turn to chalk. This isn't something the doctor said. This is just a horror nightmare that I have now.
No, they'll have to set up like some sort of internal pulley system or something. You know?
So, like, I eat a vegetable.
Right.
Like, I'm not a crazy person. I have a vegetable every now and then. I would say at least daily I have a fruit.
Yeah.
A berry.
Sure.
I'll have a berry. I had a berry this morning. Here's the thing, guys. Even if you eat a vegetable, sometimes
it doesn't soak into your bones.
You may have dangerously low levels of all the vitamins. They called me on a Saturday.
Holy balls.
To tell me
that you had to get a vitamin in your body immediately. Erin, I think this would explain a lot.
No. I have no.
All the falls you're telling me about, Erin.
Oh yeah, the falls, yes. Yeah. But I've also been very stressed out lately, and that has everything to do with my schedule and nothing to do with my vitamins.
That's all external nonsense. Yeah.
Yes, it's real, I swear.
Yeah.
So take a vitamin.
Take a vitamin, eat a vegetable.
Moderate. Use vitamins in moderation.
Use prescribed
vitamins responsibly.
As they are directed at you.
Yeah.
Is how you
Don't
should use the
vitamins to party. Use them responsible. Don't eat vitamins for lunch. Eat vitamins as directed.
I love that you've gone from one extreme to another. That's so good.
Yeah, I've tried to make this last long enough that Mary can't use it as her video for Instagram. That's what I'm trying to do here because it's so embarrassing.
All right. Okay. My lady love is twofold, and it's very serious. The first one is, have you ever seen those worlds between book things?
Yeah.
They're so
sent me a
fun.
Picture.
Oh my gosh. And especially if you want to make it a project with another person or whatever, man, it was a fun little interactive experience. They have the ones where apparently they're totally blank and you paint them. And that sounds just like a bridge too far for me. But I think that it would be very fun for the right person. Anyway, worlds between books. Not only is it a fun thing to build, but then it's also a fun thing to have just in your house, because you can live your giant dreams. And no matter what anybody else says to you, no matter what kind of side eyes you get, you be a giant. You do it. You just walk around stomping and calling out random syllables that start with F. And you who talk about Englishmen's blood and talk about grinding their bones into toast and just
I think what you're doing is you're listing a lot of unfortunate stereotypes about giants, and I'm a little concerned about the blowback.
Oh no, we're gonna get so many emails
from giants.
Yeah.
Grinding people's bones into dust. That's what I'm doing.
You're doing that to yourself. You're also living your giant dreams, Erin.
I'm always talking about Englishman's blood and how thirsty I am for it.
It's true. And all the reasons that you are thirsty for it. Okay. All right. We gotta go.
Was that both folds of your lady love?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Making it and having it.
Yeah. Build it and then be it.
All right. Okay.
Uh-huh. All right. So you can find us on all the places. We're on all the socials. Erin does such a good job. Erin and Natalie do such a good job on the socials. I am usually not around, although I do like to respond to a comment on Instagram and a tweet.
Listen. I know we're at the end of the episode. Some of you aren't even listening anymore.
That's
Joke's
right.
on you.
That's right.
Melody has a sixth sense for if I tweet something wrong. If I don't know how she knows. If there's a tweet out there or an Instagram comment or whatever, a DM or whatever, it's like a weird little spidey sense goes off in her brain and she's like, somewhere Erin is tweeting wrong. So Just like, because I tweeted this week about how our Facebook group had gotten much grosser since Alicia Rye had recommended those foot peels, because it is gross in there now because everybody's peeling on their feet. And Melody like appeared out of nowhere and was like, I love gross stuff. How dare you say that our podcast doesn't like gross things? And I was like, you haven't been on Twitter in fucking weeks, Mel. It's strange. You're like a psychic for when you disagree with social media posts.
You know what? It's not just that, because remember, in our private, group chats, I also have a sixth sense for when I can jump in and just blow up your spot.
She doesn't pay attention at all to a Facebook group chat. She is never there. She never checks it. She's never in a Facebook group chat. And as soon as I say something about her, she's there. And I'm not tagging her. Like, it's not... She's right there. And she's like, how dare you?
or when Erin like says an opinion, but I know the hilarious, embarrassing backstory that created the opinion.
Is that what it was?
Oh, yeah. Then I come in and I'm like, oh, ask Erin about her. And
what is it?
Horse meat.
No, Melody, don't eat it. Don't whisper it. Horse meat. Say it loud and proud.
It's horse meat, everybody.
I want to eat a horse. Say it. Hey, that's not really true.
That's not her opinion,
but
it's like adjacent
in a way. Horse meat.
Horse meat. We're wasting it. That's all.
We're wasting it. I have a lot of opinions about horse meat, and that's fine. So you can find us at Heaving Bosoms on Instagram, at Heavings, underscore bosoms. That's the Twitter. Mm-hmm. And Heaving Bosoms Podcast on Facebook, Heaving Bosoms Podcast at gmail.com. Mm-hmm. The Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult is our Facebook group. And our website is heavingbosoms.com. There are links at that website for you to get the merch, for you to join our incredible Patreon where we're going through Crash Landing on You, sometimes with celebrity guests. For the HB Reading Embrace, you can find that there and all kinds of great stuff.
Yeah, it's really fun. I'm having a lot of fun over on the Patreon episodes.
Same.
Same. It's my favorite thing. Okay, so keep being a badass.
And love yourself as much as you love looking at somebody on the phone with your X-ray vision and seeing exactly what words they're about to say next because you've got X-ray eyes. What a perfect metaphor. Yeah, you heard how stupid it is, didn't you? You heard it out loud.
I saw that stupid double-handed mic drop you just did. What? Mic drop, float away.
I did dicks too. All right, anyway.
Okay. All right, bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.